Hello everyone! Welcome to The Art Doctor. I'm Nancy Langham Hooper, PhD, art historian, and culture enthusiast, ready to use the great art of the world to help you out. Today, infertility. You would think infertility is a swear word. Nobody wants to say it. They say things like, they're trying. Trying for what? Like to form a new ABBA cover band? To set up a Starbucks on the moon? To roll back time to make sure that Hitler was never born? And look, there is a very good reason we don't go badgering people about their reproductive lives. It's none of our business. It's perfectly fine if people don't want to have children. It is also perfectly fine if they want to have 6, 8, or 10 kids. But if you want a child and are having trouble having a child, it's okay to use that word if it applies to you. It's okay to tell everyone you meet if you want to. It's okay to shout it from the rooftops. Go for it if it makes you feel better. My husband and I had our daughter via IVF 4 years ago. Here she is with both food and paint on her face. A new record. The joy of a successful pregnancy can make you forget what hell went before it. And that can make people going through it now feel even more alone. But don't worry, friends. The Art Doctor is here. And Yoko Ono understands. Right at this very moment, I have some very good friends going through what seems like endless cycles of IVF. They're putting on a really brave face, but they are stressed. And if you happen to be the lucky partner with the uterus in this equation, you can look forward to all sorts of wonderful things like hormone injections and pills and, oh my God, the endless probing of your hoo-ha. It's like you cease to have any embarrassment anymore. You're like, hello, nice to meet you. By all means, stick that thing into my vagina. I will pretend that this is all normal. Lovely weather we're having. In fact, after I became pregnant, I went to have my 12-week scan, and the ultrasound tech was like, why are you taking off your pants? And I'm like, I always take off my pants. And she was uncomfortable with that, and I was confused. But my husband reports he never did get over the embarrassment of being given a little cup and told to fill it with sperm in a room of the hospital that looked like a miniature fancy hotel with no bed and a really big TV. But by far the worst part of this whole journey was the emotional roller coaster. We can do this. We can really try. Oh, we're never gonna have children. Okay, you know what? We could try again. Etc. There is one little word behind all our joy and all our pain on that roller coaster. Hope. Imagine you see this work of art in front of you. You notice an ordinary-looking ladder with a white square hung above it. Hanging from one end of the square is a chain. At the end of the chain is a magnifying glass. It's an interactive work of art. The artist invites you to climb the ladder, so you do it. Toward the top of the ladder, you realize how high up you are and how this ladder is wobbling a bit. But you still can't see anything on the white square and need to get closer. At the top of the ladder, you carefully arrange your body for balance and grab the magnifying glass. Now the square wobbles. Crap! What are you even looking for on this white square? What if it's empty and you just look like an idiot? Still, you scan the square. And then you see something. There! A faint smudge. A word? This is Ceiling Painting, Yes Painting by Yoko Ono, and it's a conceptual work of art. Conceptual art, as the name suggests, is less about the object and more about the idea behind it. Beginning in the mid-60s, this term was used for a new kind of ideas-based art. This means that the artist took the most time over how to express a thought and less over the actual materials used. So why the move from making art to making ideas? American artist Douglas Hubler gave as concise an explanation as we're likely to get. Quote, "The world is full of objects, more or less interesting. I do not wish to add any more." And yes, this kind of art can be difficult. Some viewers love it. Some find it baffling or stupid. I think one of the reasons that initially I was drawn to older art is that I just didn't get conceptual art. Even in my undergraduate classes, no one could really give me an explanation that I understood. But I've come to realize that conceptual art is by nature a hit-and-miss affair. Yoko Ono insists that conceptual art is more expressive than painting. Of course, the most successful works, to me at least, are the ones that communicate the underlying idea in the clearest way. But this is the thing, not every idea we have is literal. Meaning, not every idea can be expressed in language. I mean, this is why we have poetry and art in general. For conceptual artists, the ideas were not simple, but deep feelings and experiences that could not always be articulated. So when you ask them, what's it about, or what does it mean? They can't always give you an easy answer. It's not a cop-out, it's just the deep nature of the art. But having said that, yes, you are allowed to hate it if you like. That's totally fine. But give it a chance to work on you. See if you can pick up the scent of the artist's concept. Now, like most art movements, if you look up conceptual art, you will find a lot of male names. But as always, women were right in the center of the movement. And Yoko Ono was one badass conceptual artist. Yoko Ono was born in Tokyo. Her family moved several times between the United States and Japan when she was a child. She finally ended up in New York City when she was 20 years old. A precocious young artist and aspiring bohemian, she fell in with Fluxus, a group of Dada-inspired conceptualists. By the way, Dada is a really cool art movement from the early 20th century that I don't have time to go into, but they did lead to conceptualism. Anyway, Fluxus promoted Ono's work, eventually leading to a 1966 show in London where a certain John Lennon climbed a certain ladder, saw the yes, and fell in love. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to insert a little rant here about Yoko Ono and the Beatles. I mean, the stereotype of Yoko Ono, what most people think of when they hear her name, is this kind of mysterious woman who entranced John Lennon and broke up the Beatles. She had baffling, crazy art, and she ruined a perfectly good pop group. I'm sure you won't be surprised that most media and critical coverage of Yoko and John had more than its share of racism and misogyny. Ono was a woman who didn't fit acceptable molds of womanhood in the 60s. She chose art over domestic duty. She wasn't ashamed to be a bit weird and out there. She also wasn't white, so the quote-unquote sneaky Asian racist narrative became the explanation for Lennon's behavior rather than his own independent choices. And yes, there was drama and misbehavior, but it doesn't change the facts. Yoko Ono couldn't break up the Beatles because she wasn't in the Beatles. She didn't have that power, okay? She was just an awesome artist doing her thing. Okay, rant over. Ono created ceiling painting, yes painting, after a messy breakup. She says the smallness of the yes and the difficulty of reaching it reflected her pain at the time. She had a vision of a spiritual journey, climbing into the heights like a cathedral, to be rewarded with hope or affirmation from on high. So, ceiling painting is about hope, how you feel on the ladder, wobbly and uncertain, how you feel when you finally find the yes. As John Lennon later said, I climbed the ladder, looked through the spyglass, and in tiny little letters it said yes. So it was positive. I felt relieved. It's a great relief when you get up the ladder and you look through the spyglass and it doesn't say no. And isn't that the yes that we're hoping for in our infertility? After all the feelings, all the wobbles, all that searching for a microscopic answer, don't we long for that still small word? I wish I could tell each and every one of you that there is a yes in your future, but I don't have that power. All I can do, all art can do, is hold up a mirror to the situation. Hope is there. Hidden, small, but reachable if you try. Look, I could have offered you something saccharine, some picture of parental perfection or posed grief or pretty flowers, but platitudes are not what you need when you're going through a traumatic situation. Conceptual art is perfect because it strips away all pretense. Yes, sometimes it strips away too much, but that just shows how hard it is to get right. But when you get it right, you have a universally powerful work of art, one that speaks straight to your heart. So I hope that helped you out, or at least gave you something to think about while riding the endless roller coaster. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. I post a new video every Friday, and I could really use your support while starting this whole thing up. Okay, so deep breath. You got this. I'll see you next time.